The moment I heard the crunch, I knew I was in deep trouble. Not the soft rustle of autumn leaves or the thud of a package hitting the porch, no. This was the gut-wrenching sound of something costly meeting something unyielding. I bolted upright from my recliner, coffee sloshing in my mug, and rushed to the window of my cozy suburban home in Willow Creek, Oregon. It was October 15th, 2024, and through the glass, I saw a silver Lexus SUV lumbering over my front lawn like it was conquering a backcountry trail. It jolted once, then slunk back onto the street, leaving behind a carnage of crushed garden lights, a shredded sprinkler line, and a patch of once pristine fescue grass now scarred with tire tracks. Behind the wheel, with designer sunglasses perched on her head and an arm weighed down by boutique shopping bags, was the neighborhood's reigning chaos agent, Vanessa. I'd tangled with Vanessa before. She was the kind of neighbor who treated property lines like mere suggestions and stop signs as personal affronts. Her modern two-story house sat diagonally across from mine in our quiet cul-de-sac, its manicured exterior and ever-chiming wind chimes somehow radiating judgment. If her golden retriever left a gift on your roses, she'd blame the wind. If your trash bin tipped over, she'd report you to the Homeowners Association, HOA, for negligent waste management. Vanessa had that smilia sharp, smug curve that screamed she believed rules applied to everyone but her. And now, she'd just plowed through my yard like it was her personal shortcut to the mall. I flung open the front door as she unloaded her groceries, acting like the flattened lawn was invisible. "Morning, Vanessa," I called, my voice laced with just enough cheer to hint at menace. "Road under construction or something?" She didn't even glance my way. "Your mailbox is too close to the curb," she said, hoisting a bag of organic kale. Had to swerve. Then she sauntered off, as if she'd just solved world hunger. I stared at the gouged earth, my jaw tight. The HOA had rules so strict they'd once fined me for a hedge that was half an inch too tall. Vanessa, though? She was untouchable. Her cousin chaired the HOA board, and her husband owned half the commercial real estate in Willow Creek. She knew it, and she wielded it like a scepter. I called the HOA president, Martin, who answered with the weary tone of a man bracing for bad news. "She says your mailbox was an obstruction," he muttered, clearly reading her complaint verbatim. "It's 6 feet from the curb," I shot back. I measured it with a surveyor's tape and had it notarized. Martin sighed. "We'll issue her a warning." I'd heard that before warnings were Vanessa's kindling for her fireplace. But this time, I didn't argue. I didn't demand compensation. I thanked Martin and headed to the nursery, a plan already forming. Vanessa's shortcut wasn't new. She'd done it during last year's Memorial Day cookout and again at Thanksgiving when she didn't feel like circling the block. My corner lot, with its long driveway and no sidewalk, was too tempting for her lazy tires. So, I decided to make her regret it. I bought 6 60-pound granite boulders and arranged them in a jagged line along the edge of my lawn, right where her SUV had scarred the grass. To the casual eye, they were a stylish landscaping touch, accented with solar lights for safety. To Vanessa, they were a gauntlet waiting to wreck her suspension. The irony was sweeter than my morning coffee. 5 days later, I was munching toast when I heard her SUV's engine roar, followed by a bone-rattling thud. I sprinted to the window. Her Lexus had slammed into the first boulder, bouncing back like it hit a brick wall. Undeterred, Vanessa gunned it again, clipping the next rock and leaving her front bumper dangling like a broken tooth. I strolled outside, toast in hand. "Hey, Vanessa," I said, tilting my head. "Mistake my yard for a demolition derby?" Her face was a storm of fury, but she kept it together. "Those rocks weren't there last week," she snapped. "Installed them 4 days ago," I replied. "Got the HOA permit right here. Want a copy?" Her eyes narrowed. "You're trying to trap me." "No," I said, smiling. "You're trespassing. Big difference." That night, she filed a grievance, claiming my boulders were a neighborhood hazard. At the emergency HOA meeting she demanded, she arrived with posters of my rocks circled in red like they were nuclear warheads. I countered with security footage of her SUV tearing through my lawn like a monster truck. The board was divided, half fed up with Vanessa's antics, half intimidated by her connections. But Martin, exhausted, ruled in my favor. "The rocks are on his property. They're allowed." Vanessa seethed, muttering, "This isn't over." loud enough for everyone to hear. She wasn't wrong. Before I installed the boulders, I'd been working on a low-voltage lighting project for my yard. I'd laid wires in shallow trenches, but hadn't buried them yet, conveniently leaving them under the patch Vanessa treated like her private road. When her SUV hit the boulders, it also crushed the wires, shorting my system and frying my garage lights. The security footage showed her tire flattening the cables. This wasn't just lawn damage, this was felony property destruction. I called the sheriff's non-emergency line and showed Deputy Carla the evidence. She watched the video, shaking her head. "She's been at this a while, huh?" 2 years, I said, handing her coffee. "Last month, she ran over the Nguyen's holiday lights and blamed their cluttered display." Carla nodded. "That's criminal mischief, maybe reckless endangerment. Want to press charges?" I didn't. Not yet. I filed a complaint with the sheriff and the HOA, letting Vanessa stew. 3 days later, she stormed across the street, waving a sheriff's letter like a battle flag. "You called the cops over a wire?" she shrieked. "No," I said calmly. "I called them because you drove onto my property and broke an electrical system. The wire was just collateral." Her face twisted. "You can't prove it was me. My camera can. So can your tire treads." She retreated, clutching the letter like it might explode. Vanessa's next move was a masterclass in pettiness. She sent an email blast to the HOA, accusing me of booby-trapping my lawn. At the next meeting, she showed up with a slideshow, claiming my rocks endangered her dog and caused her emotional distress. But her act flopped. Neighbors spoke up the Patels about their ruined tulip bed, a dad about her parking on his lawn during a kid's party. Even old Mrs. Carter, who never raised her voice, mentioned Vanessa's dog trampling her herbs. I presented my evidence, footage, police reports, and HOA violations. Martin shut it down. "The rocks stay. Vanessa, you're on conduct review." She left, fuming. Then came the night raid. I was working late when I heard gravel crunch. Not tires' footsteps. I peeked through the blinds and saw Vanessa crouched by my boulders, dumping dirt to make them look buried. She snapped photos, clearly planning to frame them as hidden hazards. I flicked on the floodlights. She froze, dirt-streaked and guilty. "Smile, Vanessa," I called, holding up my phone. She bolted, tripping over a rock. The next day, I filed a trespass report. Shockingly, she admitted it to the HOA, claiming she was testing visibility hazards. Her smugness told me she had another card to play. Sure enough, a week later, I got a certified letter from a law firm representing Vanessa L. Harper. It accused me of reckless endangerment and malicious landscaping, complete with doctored photos of my dirt-covered boulders. She even claimed her nephew tripped over Oni Bold Lie, since he lived in Idaho. This wasn't a tantrum. It was a calculated strike. Her lawyers, Pierce and Sons, were real estate sharks. Someone was coaching her, maybe her husband or a well-connected friend. But I wasn't fazed. I work in land surveying for a civil engineering firm. I eat property disputes for breakfast. I called my lawyer, Rachel, who laughed at the complaint. "She ran over your yard, got caught, and now she's suing you for not paving it for her." We filed a countersuit for trespassing, property damage, and harassment, backed by a fresh survey proving my rocks and mailbox were code compliant. It also revealed Vanessa's own mailbox was 8 inches into HOA green space violation. At the next HOA meeting, I presented my case, footage, police logs, and the survey. Martin dropped the bomb. MS. Harper's mailbox is on community property, violating our bylaws. Vanessa's lawyer squirmed. She was fined $3,000 and ordered to move her mailbox. Then came the goat. I came home to find a live goat tied to my boulder, wearing a tag. This is what you get. Security footage showed Vanessa leading it across the street at 1:43 a.m. Animal control traced it to a petting zoo she'd rented for a party and never returned. She was fined for livestock theft. Her lawyer dropped the suit the next day. But Vanessa wasn't done. She weaponized city bureaucracy, filing complaints about my drainage, tree pruning, even claiming I kept exotic animals in my garage. Each time, I greeted inspectors with permits, surveys, and donuts. They left empty-handed, one muttering, "Whoever you ticked off is relentless." I compiled every baseless complaint into a file labeled Harper Harassment and requested a city council hearing. At the hearing, I presented my evidence, footage, neighbor statements, and a letter from my firm noting Vanessa's false water main report cost the city $2,500. The council ruled her actions were retaliatory, threatening legal action if she continued. Vanessa moved out a week later. Her house sold, the lawn overgrown, her mailbox gone. My Boulder stood proud. But the real victory came months earlier, when I'd paused a rainwater collection project requiring excavation along our shared property line. After Vanessa left, I resumed it. During digging, contractors found a buried concrete slab spanning both properties' an old patio from when the lots were one. My survey confirmed it was on my deed, meaning 6 feet of Vanessa's meditation garden was legally mine. I quietly reclaimed it, planting roses along the new boundary. The neighborhood bloomed. We held a barbecue, kids played, and Martin brought coleslaw. A girl asked if my roses were magic. Only if they're on the right side of the line, I said. My boulders, now moss-covered, stood as quiet sentinels. I didn't win by shouting. I won by outlasting Vanessa, playing smarter, and letting her own chaos bury her. What do you think? Was I too harsh, or did Vanessa get what she deserved? Should neighbors fight fire with fire, or is peace worth more than revenge? Drop your thoughts below, hit like, and subscribe for more wild tales.